Today we are building a workbench for our garage workshop.
Right now we're doing a garage reorganization where we're making an efficient workout space on one side and an efficient project space on the other side.
David designed this workbench to be a solid platform for all of our projects, as well as movable so that we can move it around depending on what we need, and so that we can eventually store it up against our French cleat wall.
Another great thing about this design is that it's extremely efficient with the amount of wood that you're going to need to buy. For the workbench, you're going to need 6 8-foot 2x4s, 2 6-foot 4x4s, and a standard sheet of 4x8 3/4 inch plywood.
We decided to make our workbench the same height as our table saw so we could use them together. Once we knew the dimensions, we cut the pieces to length.
These are our 4 posts for the workbench legs. What I'm going to be doing is doing half lap joints. So it's basically removing enough material from this 4x4 so that the 2x4 will sit flush inside of here. What I've done is kind of drawn out what space is going to be the dimension of the 2x4, and then I'm just going to go on my table saw and cut each line until it's cleaned out for the most part, and I'll probably sand the inside after that. If you don't have a table saw, you can do this with a circular saw too. It's just going to take a little longer. The way I figured out how the depth for the table saw is I just raised my blade and the table saw to be the height of a 2x4 so that it'll remove the right amount of material.
Once we had the table saw blade up to the right height, we used it to cut the half lap joints in all 4 posts. Next, we used wood glue to attach the stretchers to the joints. The joints were pretty snug, so David hammered them in. Then he secured them with a clamp. Here we're making sure that the 2 overhangs on the top stretchers are equal in length. Again, we used wood glue and clamps to secure them. Here we're marking out where we're going to put the pilot holes before we drill. Then we drilled the pilot holes. And screwed it all together.
Now we're going to finish up our base by screwing in our cross stretchers from the outside in. Now that we've got our cross stretchers screwed in, we are going to cut our 3/4 inch plywood and make our bench top and bottom shelf.
What I've done here is I've clamped it down to the base of our workbench, and I'm taking my circular saw and a straight piece of wood and a clamp in order to kind of make a track saw, because we don't have a track saw right now. Doing this, you'll make sure the entire top is flush with the table. Now that we've cut out the pieces to our bench top, we're going to attach it to our base using pocket hole screws. Now, if you want to build this bench and you didn't have a pocket hole jig like we have from Craig, you could use screws and go right through the top of the surface into the base, and it would secure it really nicely, and it'd also be easier to replace. We've decided to use pocket holes simply because it's going to be easier to replace as well, but it'll leave a cleaner surface and you won't see the screws on the top.
Now that we've got our pocket holes ready, we can attach our bench top and our bottom shelf.
We're just about done with the workbench. We're now going to install these caster wheels that we got We decided on these ones because most of the time they're out of the way like this, and then you can engage them by stepping on this little handle, and it'll lift up the workbench, and we can move it around the shop whenever we need to. The table is on the caster wheels now, and you can see it moves around really well. And when you get into your spot, just flip each leg down. Voila. Okay, we're calling the bench done. Later down the road, we might decide to finish the top with like a lid seal or something. Take a router to round some of these edges, and maybe even add some customization to the bottom shelf to fit some of our specific tools. But we're really happy about how it turned out, and we're excited to get some use out of it.
Yeah, and as you can see by our very small scrap pile, it's an efficient design and it's pretty simple. We think anyone can do it. We did it between the two of us with a few power tools. Let us know if you decide to try it, and thanks for watching.